Alright guys, No Not November is about to start. Maybe you're watching this video when No Not November has already started, that's an option as well. But either way, we are going to talk about what No Not November is and everything you need to know if you choose to participate in it. Let's just start at the beginning. What is No Not November? No Not November is a far-right movement with its roots in anti-Semitism, homophobia and racism. As David Ley, PhD, a clinical psychologist and sex therapist who studies pornography and mental health, says... And by the way guys, I did a little bit of Googling, and David Ley is a guy who literally writes books promoting cuckoldry. So as David Ley, the cuckold, says, it is a creepy little smorgasbord of insecurity-driven hate with anti-Semitism, misogyny, and homophobia all rolled up in one. Also, this anti-masturbation movement has been historically used by fascist figures, none other than the one and only Nazis, to gain social control over people. Whoa. I am not entirely sure whether I should laugh or cry at this. I'm not sure if I can fully grasp the fact that some people unironically believe this. But for the sake of our own mental health and I guess just the well-being of the world in general, let's ignore this stuff for now. What actually is No Not November? No Not November is essentially a challenge where you abstain from ejaculation. You do not nut for the entire month of November. It is intended to be a nice little introductory challenge for you to introduce you to the concepts of nofap, staying away from pornography, and semen retention, abstaining from ejaculation. As you might or you might have not heard already, quitting porn and semen retention can give you some benefits. And this is a challenge for people who are new to these things to sort of introduce them, or for people who have already been trying to do these things to sort of give them that extra motivation to push it a little further, right? Because a lot of people struggle to go for 1 month. And now you have a nice little challenge for you to introduce you to these benefits, or for you to sort of get a little more serious about it. For those of you that are new, what are the benefits that you get when you quit porn and when you do semen retention? Well, it's quite simple to explain. When you watch too much porn, it kind of fucks up your brain, doesn't it? It really numbs your dopamine system, and so you can sort of lose the motivation to work towards your goals. Things in your life start to become less and less fun. And it also kind of messes up your sexuality, because the more you watch it, the more specific preferences you start to develop, right? And so it starts to become harder and harder to enjoy the real thing, maybe even get it up. And so quitting it cleans out your dopamine system. Well, it's one of the many factors in life that numbs your dopamine system, so it might not be enough, but it's one of the biggest things that numbs your dopamine system. So quitting it is very good for your dopamine system. And so you might feel that you get more motivation to work towards your goals. Your life starts to become more satisfying again. And your sexuality recovers. You can actually really start to enjoy having sex with a real person again. It gets easier to get it up, but to get a rock hard dick, because a lot of people still are capable of getting it up, but it's like an 80-90% of what it should have been, right? When you quit watching porn, it gets as hard as it's naturally supposed to be. You actually enjoy the real thing again, instead of being dependent on the specific fetish things that you've conditioned yourself to be dependent on. Semen retention, it gives you that extra step of motivation on top of it. It gives you that extra energy, that extra hype towards life, that fuel, that motivation to work towards your goals, and that energy inside of you. No Not November, like I said, it serves as a nice challenge. It's really like a fun challenge for you to introduce you to these benefits. Or if you already know about the benefits, to sort of give you a reason to push a little harder to chase these benefits. So what are the most important things for you to know when you choose to participate in No Not November. Number one, in my humble opinion, and some people are going to disagree with me, but in my opinion, number one, the most important thing is to realize that porn is the main problem. Your priority, number one priority, should be to not watch porn during this month. And I know this sounds terribly ironic because it's called No Not November, which implies that the number one priority would be to not nut, to do semen retention. But please trust me that it's going to be a horribly stupid idea for you to think, well, oh, the priority is to not nut, so I might as well just watch some porn, maybe even factor porn, as long as I don't climax, right? That's probably the worst thing you can do. Now, not only is it so stupid because it just makes it incredibly hard for you, and it makes it extremely likely that you end up messing up, but porn is more harmful than ejaculation. Porn is the thing that really numbs your dopamine system. Porn is the thing that really can mess up your sexuality. And so quitting porn is going to give you more benefits than not busting any nuts for 1 month. Not busting any nuts for 1 month can definitely give you that extra energy, can definitely give you some more benefits. But quitting porn is priority number one. Point number two that you need to know is please realize that a relapse, meaning that you fail the challenge, you end up watching porn, busting that nut. That a relapse does not mean that all the progress is lost and you've done it all for nothing. A relapse does not mean that you have failed. I mean, it kind of does, but don't think too much of the failure, okay? Most people are going to fail. No, not November. And that is fine, because think about it. I mean, if this is new to you and you're used to watching porn literally every day and busting nuts on a daily basis, and you've done that for your entire life, right? Since you've been sexually active, since you've started doing it, you've done that for like practically every day, then going without it for 1 month is a huge step, right? If you choose to do this challenge and you go without porn and ejaculation for 1 or 2 weeks, while before you've been doing it every day for as long as you've been sexually active, that's great. That is a victory for you, okay? Remember, this is supposed to sort of introduce you to nofap and semen retention. And it has done its job, right? You've now gone without it for 2 weeks, while before you couldn't go without it for 1 day. So don't think of yourself as a failure and get sad and go straight back to your old habits. Be happy that this challenge introduced you to this world and that you, because of this challenge, you've gone without it for 2 weeks. Be happy about it and then try to go on. See if you can go without it for the rest of the month and go on beyond the month. Which takes me to point number 3. What do you do when No Not November ends? Well, I think you kind of know the truth already, right? You can't expect to just do it during November and then to go back to your old habits after and for that to have any significant effect on your life. Obviously, your life in the long run will not change at all. This is not some kind of a miracle month. It's not like you can do this 1 month every year and then, the rest of the year your life is fixed and now you have the benefits. Now you've unlocked the benefits, right? And then you can go back to fapping it to porn. No. This is nothing but a fun challenge to get you started. And then obviously, when November ends, you're going to have to ask yourself the question, hey, these downsides of watching too much porn, am I experiencing them? Is it harder for me to get my dick up when I'm with a real woman? Do my preferences when I watch the dirty videos get more and more specific? Have I gotten dependent on a certain category? Or maybe at least, I start searching for that camera angle and that one girl that is prettier than the other girls. And, do your preferences get more specific? Do you notice that your dopamine system is a bit numb? Is it harder for you to enjoy life? Are games that you play not as fun as they used to be? Do you struggle to bring up motivation to work towards your goals? These are questions that you're going to have to ask yourself. Do you think that you are affected by this stuff? And do you think that quitting these things, the benefits you get from quitting these things, could benefit you in your life? The truth is, the answer is probably yes. If you're a young man, then, well, there's a 99% chance that the answer is yes, because most young men are negatively affected by excessive masturbation and watching porn. But this is something you are going to have to ask yourself, and then ask yourself, okay, so if this applies to me, do I want to continue these good habits or not? Was this just 1 month where I did it, or is this something that I might want to sort of turn into a lifestyle and continue to do from this point on? Now, here are some tips to make it easier for you. Number 1, do not do this thing that we call taking a peek, which essentially means this. You're trying not to watch porn. You're trying not to bust that nut. But the urges get high, and so you tell yourself, well, I could just take a little peek, right? Just a little peek at this one porn video and watch it for just 1 minute, and then I'll close it, and then I'll stop doing it, right? You might think, well, that sounds like a horrible idea. Why would you ever do that? It's just stupid, right? Well, guess what? Statistically speaking, so many people do it. And it happens to even the best of us when the urges get high. So you are going to have to sort of call yourself back here. Whenever you try to convince yourself, because that's what it might happen to you, okay? Your lust is trying to convince yourself in the moment. Even if right now you think, well, that's stupid, I won't do that. When the urges get really high, your lust is going to try to convince yourself to just take a peek. You're going to have to be strong here and just don't do it. Taking a peek leads to another peek and then another peek. And maybe it's not direct, right? Maybe you don't just instantly start watching porn after, but maybe it's like in the evening or the next day or something, right? It sparks an even stronger, more uncontrollable urge inside of you. It just makes it harder, and it puts you on a downward spiral. And it practically always leads to a relapse. So don't make up excuses. Don't take a little peek. Especially knowing the fact that porn is the main problem and that you shouldn't be watching porn anyway. But yeah, don't fool yourself. No peeking. The next tip, don't spend too much time in environments that spark your lust. In other words, thirst traps, Instagram, these kind of places. Now, of course, there's something to be said about the fact that it's really about controlling yourself and not avoiding. So whenever you stumble upon a picture of a girl in a bikini, you don't have to panic and you don't have to think, oh my God, no, I'm not allowed to see the girl in the bikini. You have to click it away as fast as possible. Don't worry. You can watch a picture of a girl in a bikini. But it's probably not a wise idea to sort of consciously seek out these pictures and to spend an hour in the evening purposely watching Instagram models or something, right? That's not a smart idea. You're just putting yourself in environments where the lust starts to increase. You're putting yourself in environments, digital environments, where you are more likely to sort of progress from there on and to want to take that peek and to start watching porn and to end up making a mistake. So don't freak out whenever you see a naked lady, when you stumble upon a naked lady by accident on the TV or whatever. But don't purposely go into these environments where these ladies thirst trap for your attention. Don't go there on purpose. That's just stupid. And tip number 3, keep yourself occupied. This is probably the best of all the tips. When you spend time with your friends, you're hanging out with your friends, you're at the gym, working out, you're not tempted to suddenly look up some porn, right? You're not even thinking about it. Even if you might feel a little bit horny, you don't think, oh, I'm a little bit horny. I'm just going to go to the bathroom and fap to some porn right now. You usually don't do that, right? Usually when you do these things, you're by yourself. You're bored. You don't have that much to do. You're not working hard. You're not spending time with other people. You don't have anything to keep yourself occupied, right? It's in the morning or it's in the evening. You're bored. You don't have anything to do. These are the times where you end up making mistakes. So keep yourself occupied with anything that you can keep yourself occupied with. Work, especially if it's like working on your own business. Not everyone has their own business, but I mean, you could at least, if you have a regular job, spend more time, making overtime or thinking about what you can do to make a promotion or to learn new skills so you can make a promotion or find another job. You can go to the gym. You can hang out with friends and family. And this can be simpler than you think. It can also be calling your mom, right? Because you can't always just instantly conjure up your friends right in front of you. Your friends might be busy. Pick up your phone and call your mom. Your mom probably has some time to talk to you. And just have a regular conversation with your mom, and it very quickly puts your mind off the urge, and it helps you. Go to the gym, right? If it's not time to go to the gym, do some push-ups at home. Go for a run outside or a walk. A run or a walk outside, and your mind probably instantly snaps out of the urge. And remember, guys, this is supposed to be a fun introductory challenge for you to get familiar with quitting porn and semen retention. Don't worry if you don't last the full month. Definitely try it. Definitely try to go for the full month. But don't worry if you don't last the full month. Don't think, no, I suck, I failed, and then go straight back to your old habits and never change. No. Think, wow, that was great. I've lasted for 2 weeks. This is awesome. I think I can really use these benefits in my life. I think quitting porn actually makes me better. So from this point on, I'm going to incorporate these positive habits in my life. Thank you, No Not November, for bringing this positive new chapter in my life.